to fund the credit growth. This kind of situation, if it prevails for 2-3 months, it can be understood. But it has been prevailing for the last 3 months, and the expectation is that next 3 to 4 months, there is going to be no change. If that continues, my worry is that, well, we should expect a sort of 50 basis point to 100 basis points increase in the interest rates in next 1 year. But the industry can live with this increase, with a slight moderation in the growth. The another big worry there is that as far as the availability of money per se is concerned, even that is going to be limited. If that happens, then of course, it is going to be a cause for bigger worry for the industries. And therefore, my belief is that whether we like it or not, there is going to be a moderation in the growth rates. To what extent? People say it could be 0.5%. Some of the experts say it could be more than 1%. Could be more. But medium-term implication of this moderation is, it is very difficult to build up a momentum of growth, 7%, 8%, 9%. Once it starts moderating and going down to 6%, 5%, 6%, to build it up again to the level of 7 to 8%, 9% will require some time. So that is a bigger worry. As far as I think I have adequately answered both the questions. Sorry, I missed the second part. Say that again.
My second part was, what's your view on the financial services business in the country?
No, yeah, you know, if you see the economy today, it's in a very interesting phase. Today, the number of billionaires we see getting generated in the country every week was nowhere earlier there. So my belief is that financial services industry is going to expand. Two, that financial inclusion per se is again going to throw lots of opportunities for the companies in financial services space. And therefore, this space is going to record a little higher growth than the average growth in the economy. And by wealth management services, for example, mutual funds, even in the alternative assets management space, we are going to see a lot more action than what we have seen so far. In particular, I am very bullish about the wealth management services getting more and more in the economy.
Okay, I think in interest of time, we're going to close the panel here, and I'm going to thank my panelists for being here. They're in the audience if you'd like to catch up later on with them, but thank you for your time, and thanks to each of you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. Moving on to the next section of the event, I take great pleasure in introducing you to the keynote speaker of the day, who shall be giving out the awards for the evening, Mr. Gurcharan Das. Mr. Gurcharan Das is an author, management guru, and public intellectual. He is the author of the international bestseller, India Unbound, which is a narrative account of India from independence to the global information age, and has been published in 17 languages and filmed by BBC. His latest book, The Difficulty of Being Good on the Subtle Art of Dharma, is a doctrine of Dharma that can be applied to our business decisions, political strategies, and interpersonal relationships. His other works include A Fine Family, The Elephant Paradigm, and 3 English plays, consisting of Laran Sahib, a prize-winning play about the British in India, which has been presented at the Edinburgh Festival, Meera, which was produced off-Broadway to critical acclaim from New York critics, and 9 Jaco Hill, which has been performed in major Indian cities. He's a regular columnist for the Times of India, Dainik Bhaskar, Eenadu, Sakal, and other papers, and also writes periodic guest columns for the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Foreign Affairs, and Newsweek. Being an avid blogger since 1993, his views on worldly affairs continue to inspire many. Gurcharan Das graduated honors from Harvard University in philosophy and Sanskrit. He later attended Harvard Business School, where he is featured in 3 case studies. He has over 30 years of experience working in 6 countries, assuming roles of CEO of Procter & Gamble India from 1985 to 1992, and later Managing Director of Procter & Gamble Worldwide of the Strategic Planning Division. And in 1995, he took an early retirement to become a full-time writer. He currently sits on the boards of a number of companies and is a regular speaker to the top managements of the world's largest corporations. Interestingly, he was an advisor and investor to Chris Capital at the time of their first fund. He has served on several government boards, including the Foreign Investment Promotion Council in India. He currently serves on the boards of Gillette India, Berger Paints, and Fortis Healthcare. Just for a short note about the APEX Awards, it was conceived way back in 2007. So the Venture Intelligence APEX Awards are the first awards of its kind for the private equity and venture capital funds in India, as well as related advisory firms. A key feature about the APEX Fund Awards is that the awardees are chosen by a jury panel consisting exclusively of limited partners, as the likes of Adam Street Partners, Asia Alternatives, Evolvence India Fund, Hermes GP, IDFC Capital, Morgan Creek Capital, Pantheon Ventures, Religare Global Asset Management, Sigula Gulf, and Squadron Capital. The most active advisor awards are awarded to the toppers of the Venture Intelligence League tables for the corresponding year, which is based on the submissions for PE and M&A transactions advised by them for the year. May I request Mr. Gurcharan Das to please come on stage to give you the awards, please? So this year, we have awards for 4 categories. The first one being Law Firm of the Year, which goes to AZB and Partners. Next, the most active investment bank of the year goes to Ernst & Young. Moving on to PE and VC funds, the award for the most active venture capital investor of the year goes to Seed Fund. And lastly, the award for the most active private equity investor of the year goes to IDFC Private Equity. A big round of applause for all the awardees, please. May I request Mr. Gurcharan Das to make his keynote speech for the day. Thank you.
You do me honor by inviting me to this function of what I think is one of the most exciting sectors of our economy. I have been a cheerleader of your industry ever since a young man who was in his 20s called me one day from New York. His name was Ashish Dhawan, and asked me to be on his board. And I've been on the advisory board of Chris Capital now for more than a dozen, well, at least 11 years now. And I must say that I have probably learned more from this association than from almost any business sort of aspect, but any other business that I have been associated with all my life. My enthusiasm for your industry goes back to an article that I read by Professor John Birch of MIT. He divides, in this article, he divided industry between what he called elephants, mice, and gazelles, 3 animals. And the elephants, of course, are the big companies, State Bank of India, General Motors, Tata Steel. The mice are the millions of mom and pop stores, the small companies that stay small. Gazelles, on the other hand, start small but grow, and grow into being absolute giants. And they grow, it's not just their growth that is important, but the fact that they often pioneer totally new industries, and they create enormous number of jobs. I mean, when you think about India, you think about who would be the gazelles. I mean, the US, we know. I mean, Birch talked about Intel, he talked about Microsoft, he talked about Federal Express and UPS, who created that whole industry of logistics industry. But in India, we have our own gazelles. We had Infosys, we have Bharti, Reliance, I would say, would be another gazelle. And what is amazing is that Birch looked at 20 years of the United States between, say, 1978 and 1998. And in those 20 years, he discovered that 70% of all new jobs were created by gazelles. Now that is amazing. And this was a time when the gazelles, I mean, the US created 26.4 million jobs. That's huge. And so this convinced me that this was the best thing that we could have in a country like India. So, finding new entrepreneurs with a dream, that is the challenge for our industry.